If you want to know how to make over 200 pieced blocks without having to figure out any of the math, you're going to want to watch today's video. Hi, I'm Kim Jamison Hurst. Today I'm taking a look at a book called Block Genius, 201 Pieced Quilt Blocks with No Math Charts by Sue Vaudlin. Now, if I pronounce your name wrong, Sue, my apologies. I gave it my best shot. So in this book, you've got over 200 piece quilt blocks, and it's an extremely well organized and very informative book. So let's take a look inside here. So she actually breaks the book down, wow, that's hard to say, breaks the book down into block and grid structures. So for example, blocks that are based on a 2x2 grid. Blocks are based on 3x3, 4x4, 6x6. So we know that blocks are put together in these different grids. She's broken the book down into these different sections. So if you're looking for a 2x2 grid block, you'll find it in that particular section. Before she gets going in here, and there's lots of helpful information in here too as you go along, she shows you how to make some of the different components you're going to find in these blocks. So for example, half square triangles, quarter square triangles. So she has pictures and information on how to make those, sometimes in more than one way. So you've got a technique one for half square triangles and another one for half square triangles, quarter square triangles, and so on. So that's helpful so that all the different components in the blocks, you'll have information in the front of the book on how to make those in maybe more than one way. Let's take a look at some of these grid blocks. So here we start off with the 2x2, the simplest 2x2 grid blocks. So when she shows the blocks, you'll notice a few things here. There's a lot going on in here. I said it was very well organized, and I wanted to explain what I meant by that. So you can see that you can make it in either 6, 9, or 12-inch finished block. And so she has the different parts and tells you what you're going to do with them, and she tells you what size you're going to start with to make that component for that particular size of finished block. And you'll notice that these are all color coordinated. So if you go into, I'm looking for something brighter here, let's say this one here. So for example, she's got the yellow here. You can see this block is made up from yellow and blue fabrics. So she's got the yellow fabrics, the blue fabrics. And then below, she'll show you how to actually put those different cut pieces together into that block. So there's a lot going on in here, and it makes it really easy to put these blocks together. She also has information, for example, if you are using half square triangles in the particular block, like in this Caroline's Choice, she'll tell you to go to pages 12 and 13 because that's going to show you how to make a half square triangle. Really helpful. So you move along here into some other ones here. There's some interesting blocks here. The double pinwheel, double X block. Some you may be familiar with, some may be completely new to you, especially as you get into some of the bigger grids, or shall we say smaller components, one or the other. And then I like these good to know little informational pieces that she has throughout the block. So she's telling you, for example, in this particular one, how to do chain piecing. So if you're a beginner, this is a really good book for you too, because you may not know some of these tips that she has in here. I like this. This is something I do all the time when you're making these stitch and flip, in this case making flying geese, where you're cutting off this little triangle where you actually stitch, not just where you need to, but even further out towards the edge there, because you're going to cut in the middle there. That's forming the block component you need. But this little guy here, when you open him up, you've got an extra little half square triangle instead of wasting that little piece of fabric. If you get into the 4x4 grids, you can see you're just starting to get to a little bit more complicated blocks. Again, you can see all the information. I love the color coding. That's a really great way to help people know which piece are we talking about that I'm cutting here. She also noticed that she also labels them A, B, and C, so they're alphabetically labeled, so that you'll know what size they are and what color fabric you're cutting them out of course. So different ones in here as well. And the other thing is that all the blocks in each of the section are in alphabetical order. Also nice. And then here is another little area with some helpful information, wondering what to do with your blocks. You've got all these blocks. What are you going to do with them? Well, she shows you different ways you can put them together, different combinations. So they create some interesting secondary designs in there as well. So something else that's helpful. Then we get into the 6x6 grid blocks. Again, more complicated blocks, but some very interesting ones in here too. Some I haven't seen before, like this bowl of fruit, for example. Haven't seen that one before. So lots of really kind of cool blocks in here to use in your quilt projects. And near the back, I should say not at the very back, because there's something at the very back that's really helpful too, but near the back, she has different settings. So again, you've got these blocks, what are you going to do with them? So she has different setting ideas here, and she actually has different setting charts for a quilt that are not colored in. So you could actually photocopy these and color them in with the appropriate colors you want to use in your particular blocks to see how they look. So you've got the straight setting, as we might want to call that, our typical setting, horizontal, vertical. And then you've got these on-point settings with your setting triangles. A medallion setting, also very interesting, something I might not have thought of. And then an asymmetrical setting. So if you're really into modern quilts, this is a great example for a setting to use. And then we get to the very, very back of the book, a couple things. First off, she has grids here. So again, the 2x2, 3x3, 4x4, and 6x6 grids. But these are for you if you want to make other sizes than what are in the book. So she tells you here what you need to add for a square, for example, or for a half square triangle or quarter square triangle. So whatever size you're trying to get to, you need to add these different inches to get that, to start with, to get those particular components, I call them, of the blocks. So this allows you to actually create your own bigger blocks, maybe smaller, but probably bigger blocks as well. So you've got all the information there to do that. Now, you might have to do a bit of math there, okay? But, the other blocks that are in the book, you don't have to do any math for. The other thing that's nice is she actually has an index at the back. So if you know a block that you're looking for to see if she has it in the book, you can check in here and it gives you the page number as well. You don't often find an index in quilting books like that. So if you were looking for a really good reference book for how to make different pieced blocks in 3 different sizes, I would recommend Block Genius by Sue Voigtlin. And if you look in the description below, I've got a link to this book so you can see more information on it and maybe even get your own copy. Thanks for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps to get it in front of other viewers like you. And remember to subscribe and hit the bell so you won't miss out on another video. Before you go, check out these other videos I've included just for you. And for more helpful quilting information, please go to my website at www.chatterboxquilts.com.